Hey everybody, it's Jennifer. Welcome to today's episode of Office 365 Pulse. Excited to share some really great things with you guys today about different things that are coming. So we are ready to go. We have got a great host joining us today, and so many of you guys know Rob Bogue from the SharePoint community. He is also lovingly known as the SharePoint Shepherd. So he does quite a bit with training and user management, getting people educated, successful rollouts, and different things like that. He does some training with Pluralsight, lynda.com, all sorts of different places. So a great resource, and he's joining us now. So Rob, why don't you give us a quick little, 50,000-foot overview of Rob, because I know you can talk about yourself for a really long time. Oops, I think you're muted.
Hey, there we go. That'll
All
probably
right.
work better. 50,000 feet. Ooh, I don't know. Well, you hit some of the high points. You hit Pluralsight and doing some work for lynda.com. There's the SharePoint Shepherd's Guide stuff that
Yep.
we do. I know we're going to talk about user adoption stuff, so that'll be fun. And then I also do just random things, like decks of playing cards. And I mean that literally, decks of playing cards. Uh, I'm actually sitting up in the video studio, so we do a lot of video production here and try and help people figure out how to use this thing we call SharePoint.
I've got a lot of different people are on camera, and everybody always has a different background. But I have to say, I still win with having like the calmest, most inviting background. Yours is scary.
Here we go. There we go. That's the two-camera shoot and preview monitor, and yeah. No, it's nothing from Transformers. It's not going to turn into anything and kill us. It's all good.
So that's where the magic happens.
Yeah, you get the other end of the room, but that's fun. Next time you're in Indy, we'll have to do a recording.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So fun stuff. Well, today we have a couple of announcements to talk about. Once again, Microsoft decided that after I finished my sway and sent it off to Rob and said, here's the sway for the day, they went crazy and like posted 3 or 4 blocks. So Rob, it's even been updated since the last time you looked at it. So we've
Great.
got some new updates and some different things to talk about. So first up, I added back a link to the show for the Office 365 roadmap. Nothing significant this week to mention roadmap announcements, just some of the same things that are always there. One thing, though, that they did put on the roadmap, which I thought was very interesting, is that you can now sort it based on recent updates. So it's going to show you all of them, but here in the center, you can change that to, toggle on, show me only recent changes. What I haven't figured out is what that recent is. I think it's like within the last 30 days, maybe. And it will let you toggle it if it runs correctly. Yeah, there we go.
If they increase their update cycle like they have been, they'll have to change that to like the last 30 seconds, right? From 30 minutes.
True. So true, so true. So nothing too significant in terms of that, but wanted to link out to it. And as we're going through different things, guys, please feel free to put your questions in the question box, and we will answer those as we're going through. I know Trent sent some to us initially, and so hopefully we get some of those questions answered as well as we're going through. So after roadmap updates, we have a couple of message center things that I thought were just interesting. They put, the official announcements. Office 2016 is out there. Cortana is now available. Woo! Then
There was
groups.
one of them, AI, that wasn't Siri.
That's the one complaint I hear from Corey over and over and over again since he switched to iOS is he misses Cortana. Every time we go to the airport, I have to have a conversation about how Cortana was superior to Siri when it came to travel notifications.
Yeah, okay, you might have to worry about him having a thing for Cortana. I mean, Siri worries about me having a thing for Siri, and I'm like, no, I'm not really interested. She's a little two-dimensional.
Oh, it's too funny, too funny. So hopefully it's coming to Office 365 next. They just need to come to iOS, which I know should be happening soon. But there you have it. The other thing that I thought was interesting, and this might be something that someone has run into, might not, but I thought it was worth mentioning. If you have a user and then you delete the user and then you recreate the user, if said user goes to the Launchpad and says open Word, once they're in Word, they're not going to be able to create new documents.
Oh, that's
So, yeah, that one's a little bit goofy. That would be like looking for a needle in a haystack, I'm assuming, because that one was just really odd. I read through that and I was like, okay, that's a little bit crazy. The workaround was that you just don't use the app launcher and use OneDrive for Business. So I thought that was kind of a cute little workaround. Cute
okay.
meaning like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But that's there. So if anyone runs into that one, um, typical. So that could happen there. Yeah, Dan said people actually create documents with Word online. I
They're
don't.
migrating to Google Docs, so it's a step up, really. Um,
Yeah, yeah. So again, I don't know. It was in the message center. I thought it was worth mentioning because it's one of those things that you probably would never think, oh, I deleted and recreated this user. You're probably just thinking, why the heck can they not create documents? So I thought that one was a little bit goofy, but I thought I'd mention it just in case one of our wonderful attendees was running into that issue.
hey, you want to know what I found today? I really did. Found this
Yeah.
before the show. Um, if you try to put attachments on list items and you have the April 2015 CU installed locally, yeah, it doesn't let you. You're not allowed because they have special characters that they don't have.
Ooh.
So
If you guys hear barking in the background, my two dogs are with me today, and they're being loud. So if you
there's a little bunny. They
yeah.
can chase the bunny.
um, okay, interesting. Is that okay? Okay, I
It's
hadn't run into that one
no,
yet.
known issue, and there's a workaround, but it's not pretty.
Okay, all right. Well,
So they're learning all kinds of stuff.
yeah, it happens. It happens. I haven't run into that one. Okay, blog updates. Okay, this is where it gets fun. At least some of this is fun. I think some of this is really cool. Um, First, the big one is that the OneDrive for Business sync client is now in preview. I think it's kind of in preview, meaning you can click on a link and say, reserve my spot. I want to be in this preview. Let me get the pieces. There's some really cool stuff. I have not gotten it all configured and working in an environment that I can demo easily, but I do have some screenshots that some of the Microsoft folks put out that I think it's worth walking through some of the cool things that are coming with it. First off, the sync client is, well, how can we say this? It's supposed to
Functional.
sync. Yeah, so it's supposed to
Functional.
sync now. Yes. Um,
Awesome.
it, it is not syncing everything that OneDrive can do. So it's doing OneDrive documents. For instance, right now it's not empowering the team site sync. So that's something that's coming later. So in some scenarios, it depends on how you're structured, if you'd be using both syncs for a while or running different pieces. But when it's there, you also get the ability to do the selection of a file sync. So I can say sync these files, but don't sync these files, vice versa. So it's a lot easier now to do the local sync, and you can do selective syncing. Um,
Looks a lot like Dropbox.
yes, it does. Here is the new the screenshot of what the new experience looks like. Looks very much like the consumer OneDrive experience if you're in there. So you get the previews of the documents, recent activity, different things along those lines. You can quickly and easily do things. I'm a big fan of the updated UI. I find it pretty easy to work with. Um, I know Rob has an opinion. I can see it in his face. He has
No,
an
I do. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful redesign. I love the UI. However, I just happened to look up at the URL of where this picture comes from, and it has WP-content in it. So this might be a mock-up.
Oh, it could be. I didn't pay that much attention to it. I just looked on their blog.
I know it's
So
pretty.
it is pretty. It's very pretty. And then you also get some extra share options, different things along those lines of how you can share. But not to be worried, there is the OneDrive admin controls. So you can, whitelist or blacklist, allow only sharing to these domains, don't allow sharing to these domains. So you can control that for your users to say where they can share and where they can't share. So we're getting better, Rob. Might not be perfect.
No, we do it. I actually love. I love those new features. We sometimes would have to script that out for people.
Yes.
We could snipe. I occasionally snipe things. People they share to places they shouldn't share to. So it's very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's all new stuff. I will work on getting somebody from maybe the OneDrive team that can come out and chat with us. I haven't been as successful with getting that group to come out and chat with us. I think it's mostly because they've been dying to get the product actually out there, so they have something. So they have something to come in and talk to us about. So it's really cool. I'm going to be working on getting it in my primary environment. I've only been playing with it in a demo environment, but getting it in my primary environment so I can start getting the benefits from it. But totally cool stuff. It is great to see that team. They have worked so hard on that for so long, so it's great to see something hit the streets. So I'm super excited about that. The next piece kind of ties into it a little bit as well, which is that DLP is coming to the OneDrive files and to SharePoint Online and Office 2016. So you can now do the data loss prevention against those files as well. So that announcement came out today as well. So that's another cool security feature if you guys are using that you guys are going to be able to continue using. So I don't know too many people yet that are digging super, super deep into that. I think they're kind of waiting for the ones that are going to kind of dig into it are kind of waiting for that whole package to be there, and so the pieces are coming together. So I'm excited about it. I think it's good stuff. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Client's been waiting on it.
Yeah. The next one, Express Route for Office 365 is now in general availability. This is a really great solution if you need it and you have the funds for it, and it can all work out beautifully. So it is now no longer in preview, but is for general availability. And in the blog post that we're linking to, I think it's 6 providers that can help you get what you need for that to get that service. So that is generally available today. No new feature announcements or anything like that based on what had been here before, but information nonetheless.
If you need to slam bits, they know how to do it.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, the next thing is they came out with quick cards or quick start guides for Office 2016. So there's like 5 or 6 of them that you can download. Did you download them, Rob? I see Rob's papers. He's got something there.
No, that's the stuff we do.
Oh, yeah.
Cards up.
Yeah.
These quick start guides are really helpful to users when they're the right content. You can focus them. I won't talk more about that, but it's cool stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I took a quick look at them, and they look nice, but I didn't really dig too deep into them to find out if it's totally what users need or want. But they have them for all the different platforms and different things like that. But they're the magic word, free.
Ah. That's the magic word. I thought it was please. My mom misled me the whole time.
I think when you're looking for resources in an organization, especially when it comes to training, free is a winner right now. So, it's good, but it's out there. The product team made those available. They also made them available for, I think, 2013 and possibly 2010 as well. I know 2013 because I've used them before. So those are definitely out there, good to have, ready to go. So the next one is a big one. The next one is fun. I sent an email internal to the company this week, and my first line was, if you can't build it fast enough, you just buy it. Because they went a little crazy this week with project acquisitions. So it's like we woke up one day and all the missing pieces where somebody could have said, wouldn't it be nice if I could sit here on my iPad and get all of these great roll-up reports from project, and wouldn't it just be awesome if? And then the next morning you wake up and they've bought a company that does that. So there were three major acquisitions that they did. So you've got a task manager app for iPhone, Android, and Windows Phone, which is actually kind of cool because most of the stuff that's coming out right now from the Microsoft team goes to iOS first. So it's actually kind of cool that it's, apps for all of them. Timesheet, statuses, stuff like that. The project dashboard is the iPad app that lets you kind of get that dashboard overview into everything. Same with the portfolio, multiple reports and different things like that that are now going to be somehow at some point integrated into projects. So, Rob, have you ever used any of these three apps?
I haven't used those three apps, but I think this is going to give us an opportunity to have project managers be able to beat us up on the road, right? Like they bring their dashboard with them as they walk through. So, I mean, I'm all for it, right?
Yeah.
Seriously, it's very fun. One of the, projects are really hard to manage.
Yes.
And anything you do to make them easier is certainly something I'd like to see.
Yes, and this is a big investment area for them. I mean, they're hitting it from both the project component parts where they're doing this, as well as the planner pieces, which is one of the things that we're going to talk about in just a few minutes. Yep. So it's kind of like this task management light thing where some of the things are going on, and they also are hitting it very hard from this project online component. So I know you guys were asking if we were going to kind of talk about it. I don't think there's really too much out there in terms of how everything is going to work. We've seen that other things that they've bought, they kind of trickle in and start to get included over time. Thinking of the email app, Sunrise, different things like that. So I'm thinking we'll start to see that happen as well, but they haven't really released a ton of information about it. But if you guys have specific questions, if you put them into that question box, we can see if we have the answer, and if not, it's something we can probably go dig around and find the answer for you. So I'm kind of excited about that. They go into it in greater detail. It's really just the mobility piece that I think they're really going after, and being able to get the people who need the data quickly on the devices that they're already using. So from my iPad, can I get all my project stuff, get my reports, do my drill downs, all that really cool stuff that's needed.
Yeah, I have a lot of customers that are contracting customers and people that are in the field, and the idea that you got to open a project and fire it up, and it's very difficult for them to manage projects while they're in the field doing real work.
Yes, and you don't want them to have to worry about. You don't really want them to worry about all of that. You want them to. You want them to just be able to use their tools. And what really excites me is I am a huge fan right now at the rate at which Microsoft is buying up stuff. So if something is working on the market, they're kind of consuming it in little chunks, and I'm just like, okay, this is good because now we don't have to wait 3 iterations for you to get something that is, best in class. You're kind of buying something that's good, then you're going to put your Microsoft spin on it, and we're going to get to an end product quicker. So I'm super excited about the rate at which they're acquiring things, and I'm like, who got a blank check in that office, and can I meet him so I can tell him who to buy next?
Well,
oh, you want to be bought, Rob? Okay, I'm first to admit it.
Guy. Like, all this great work.
I know what you meant. Oh, Dan's asking me in the question box who I'd buy next. You know I can't say that, Dan Holm. I'll tell you privately, but publicly, I got to remain neutral. Workflow and forms. That's what I would conquer next. Oh, love it. Okay.
I don't know that I can do that. I can't quite get to the Aussie voice. I could try to do the Aussie voice, but this isn't it. I'll have to find it.
No, that's not it. Okay.
No, it's not it. It's not even close.
The next app we have, which is so cool, let me be the first to say I love the Microsoft Garage team. I remember Jerry Chapman used to be the Microsoft Garage, but then he moved to the Microsoft Mechanics, and I was like, okay, whatever, this is crazy. But then the Garage series started, which is those little apps that you get, which are helpful apps. Unfortunately, only on iOS as of now. But there's this great little app called Invite. Let's see, I think you guys can see it on my screen there.
We can see your homepage.
Yeah, you can. And then you go into this cute little app, and it's going to let you pick people, like pick an event. So if you guys have ever heard of When is Good, it lets you send a list out to like 10 different people and give them different times and say when is good. And then the app is going to come back and tell you, okay, these people picked these times, here's what's good. And then it says, what's your final time? And you pick the one that works for everybody. And then you say, boom, add it to calendars. And it goes out and sends the invites. And it's just a beautiful app. I think it's easy. I got super geeked about this one, maybe because I plan a lot of meetings, and it is painful to look at people's calendars and see what's actually going to work, and especially across time zones. So this puts it like in the app. It sends you the times based in your time zones and different things like that, and it was just super easy to use. So this came out like 2 days ago. Maybe it came out earlier, but I saw the blog about 2 days ago. Are you using this one, Rob?
I'm not. I cheat. I have an assistant. I mean, honestly, if you can't afford an assistant, sounds like a great option.
Oh my gosh, Rob!
That's true. What, do you want me to lie to the audience? I'm not lying to your audience.
If you're not part of the 1%, Invite will work great.
I am not part of the 1%. I have no Grey Poupon, and my car don't even stop and ask me.
Oh, well, I haven't quite made it to Rob Bogue status. I do not have an assistant that's going to do all that. But Invite works great for me.
Yeah.
Oh, Rob.
Which, by the way, if people haven't made their free busy data on Office 365 available publicly, and like got that link, that is super, super helpful. Like, we send my free busy link out to all the kind of trusted people all the time.
Yeah.
So if they can't, if they can't get Invite for whatever reason, they are still stuck on a monolithic Windows phone, or they've been included into the Borg, or I mean Android. There are some things you can do if you've got Office 365.
And the Invite app works really cool across platforms that aren't. Like, I was testing with it, so I'm thankful for friends like Kathy Dew and Lori Gowan that without me even talking to them can get like request from me with like, this is a test, I'm just playing around, and they respond back to it, and Lori was accepting my meeting. It was great. I didn't even talk. I still haven't talked to her after doing the test, but she played along beautifully.
Awesome.
But I sent it to her at her Microsoft account, I sent it to Kathy at our Planet account, and then I sent it to my Hotmail account, and all of them played together nicely. They all got the invites. The mail message was formatted, just very user-friendly. So I was actually shocked. So I thought it was really good stuff. So if you haven't played with it, totally worth it. Maybe you can ask your assistant to like download it for you or something. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay, fine. Here we go. Do it myself. Breaking rules here, but here we go. I'm doing it right now. We can continue with the show, but I'll download it.
Too funny. I'm sorry. It was just, you caught me off guard with saying I have people for that. Anyway, okay.
It's like people. It's not like I've got 2 assistants. I mean, I want 2 assistants. I just can't afford them.
Anyway. Too funny.
Too funny. So, what else do we got?
We've got Planner. I am so thrilled about this one. So far, the best content that I have seen about this one is the article that Dan Holm wrote that's published on, you guessed it, IT Unity. So we have the link here, and it's got an in-depth guide to. Let me get this opened here. And it shows all of the different components of Planner. What I like to say is planners, when you looked at groups and thought, okay, groups are kind of cute, but they don't totally do what I need, and there's not this extra element of actually being able to manage and do different things with it and keep track of team tasks and different things like that. And we had to go and rely and get a lot of things out of SharePoint. Planner kind of steps in and provides that extra level of functionality for us. And so we've got the site up here showing some of it. You've got just different, like, there's all sorts of different components to it. There's boards, and then there's cards on the boards, and it's basically ways to pull all of the data together in a way that you can have conversations, documents, you can have notifications, tasks, different things like that. And so they've put a little bit of information about it. Dan and I are working to get somebody from the product team to come do a special episode of The Pulse with us to kind of talk through this. There's not really a ton of information out there now, and it's one of those things that they said the first release of it isn't even going to be until Q1 of next year. But Q1 of next year, like I say that like it's a long time away, and it's like 2 holidays away. It's so quick.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, back in my day, a long time ago, or wait, from now. Yeah. No, I mean, what's that, 6 months? What is that in dog years? Is that like 42 months? That's 5 years. I mean, it's all good.
Yeah, it's not long at all. But you get like the hub that's going to track overall progress and your ability to go down with tasks and charts. And I know how people love themselves some charts. So this is just going to be nice. Yes. So this is actually really, really cool. I am so super excited about this. A OneNote notebook all joined in together. I mean, it's a lot of good stuff that's coming. So I'm super excited about that. Like I said, I think Dan's article has been so far the one that I read that's been the most comprehensive. And so it's going to be that next iteration of groups that is going to make groups just amazing to use. Have you heard much about Planner? Huh?
Do you think it'll get a tile in the 365 thing? Because groups don't have a tile. Like, they were left out.
I don't know, because you can reference them from almost every other tile. I don't know.
But they don't get their own. So
they just recently got their own icon, so I don't know them. Yeah.
So they're not anonymous anymore. That's awesome.
No, they've got their own little icon. Let me pull back up my sway. It's the little people. The real icon, I think, is blue with the people in white, but this is the one I got for this one. So groups is there. One of my favorite things about Office 2016, moving to the next piece, is that groups is now part of the Office 2016 client. This is huge because this makes it a lot less annoying. Yeah.
You have to go to the web.
I tried it. I think I've said on the Pulse a couple of times that I was going to try to go a whole week and not use the Outlook client and just use Outlook Web, and I cannot do it. I make it about a half day, and then I'm back in the client. I don't know that it has anything to do with functionality as much as it has to do with like ease of use, and I'm so used to it. So,
well, it's more responsive, and you don't have to worry about IE deciding to randomly hang up for no apparent reason like it did earlier in the show. So yeah. No, I'm in the client. I've given up. I do the web when I have to, but so.
Yeah, I don't think I'm that extreme, but I haven't gotten to where I can go over and do it. But yet there's so much cool stuff that's in the web only. So I keep saying I'm gonna try. So maybe I'll try again. Okay. Keep trying. But I think it's cool. So that's coming from groups. There's also the iOS app. Let me just tell you that this is fun. I can pull it up on my screen again. I love it. So there we go on my screen. Maybe you guys can see it. It's right there, a little people icon. And it just comes up and it shows you your groups. Huh?
They're not little purple people, though, right?
Oh, that would be so fun because we'd have to sing the song.
One-eyed, one-horn, flying purple people.
Oh, Rob, we're both crazy. We're both crazy. That's it. Both crazy.
Okay, good.
Okay. The next one, and this is the one.
By the way, I want you to see this.
Oh,
that is
yeah.
the invite.
Good.
if it would focus. But yeah, that's invite loading. So
Okay. Nice, nice, nice. Uh, okay, this next one is kind of interesting. This is the one that just came out. Um, and I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. I think I like it. Outlook on the web is getting at mentions and likes. So if somebody sends an email, you can get the thumbs up and you like it. And if people like your email, it gets included as part of the email. If you at mention someone, so say I'm writing an email to Dan, and I think Rob Bogue needs to do something, I can at Rob Bogue, and it's going to add him to the to line, and then it's going to flag the message with a special flag for them, so Rob can go see all of the emails where he was at mentioned it. I think it's actually kind of cool. One hope I have, um, one hope that I have is that it gets rid of the horrible +1 emails. You know how those go out to like 20 different people and somebody says something really smart and then 19 other people go +1, +1,000, +10, and that drives me nuts. So I'm hoping like can help with that. Think about it like when it says somebody says happy birthday. Everybody in the company doesn't have to say happy birthday, or everybody doesn't have to say happy work anniversary or different things like that. But to be able to do that kind of stuff is cool, right? So like I think it is a great feature. Um, I don't know. So one question came up on Twitter when I was just talking about it, and they said, how are companies that have been, and I think you'll have a good perspective on this one, Rob, how are companies that have been opposed to social components from the beginning of time, well, you know, the beginning of time that it got introduced, how are they going to respond to likes being in emails? Do you think they're going to freak out? Do you think they're going to uh, just accept it? Or, you know, what do you think about this? Oops, you're quiet again, Rob. Did you mute yourself? There you go,
there we go.
Rob.
Hey, I'm back. Um, so what are they going to do about it, right? Like people are doing it anyway, right? They're putting at some person in
Mm-hmm.
emails anyway, right? Like they're going to stop it. You know, there's going to be a policy against the use of the at sign. What? No, no. Although I will tell you that, and if anybody signs up for this before I do, I'm going to be really upset. When I saw this, when I saw the at mentions, I wanted to go
Mm-hmm.
sign up for a Twitter account named Mentions. There's a mention singular, but not an at mentions. And I figured that is going to get a lot of clout right away as people just talk about at mentions, and they go to put it in. Come on, this is a great idea.
I got an idea. You can add a task for your assistant to go take care of that for you.
Awesome. How about I send her a text?
Oh, Rob. Oh.
But no, I mean, what are they going to do about it, right? Like, there's a lot of things that Microsoft makes us do that we don't like to do, so it's all good.
I like it though because I think it's going to add a lot. I think where you could get a little bit tricky is sometimes I'm talking about people in email, but I don't want to be adding them to the email. So you're definitely going to not want to at mention someone accidentally.
Maybe if you do
Um,
a pound instead of an at sign, you do a pound sign, right? So they're
yeah.
the subject of conversation. You're not trying to talk to them.
But I think that one's cool. You see, between this and the pin post or the pinned emails and different things like that, it's very compelling reasons for me to get on the web client for Outlook and just give it a go. But like I said, I haven't, and none of it has been, honestly, to be perfectly honest, I'm trying to do something that I can't easily do on the web because it's a little bit different. And my default is to go back to the client instead of try to how to figure out how to do it on the web or figure out if there's a different way to do it.
Yep.
So these cool things keep coming out, and I just want to see what they're like. So I may have to play a little bit more with the actual web client in day-to-day use. Like, you know, I have it for demos and stuff like that, but the world changes when you actually get to use it for uh,
Real
real
stuff.
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am super, super excited about that. So With that, that kind of brings our show to the point that we've kind of covered the last 2 weeks of announcements from Microsoft. Hopefully that gave you guys some good information. Please feel free to, if you have specific questions about anything, put them into our question window, and we'll try to get them answered for you. But for the next half of the show, we are going to switch over to. Oops, I forgot my case studies. I always forget this one.
Oh, let's do those.
Yeah. So here are our case studies that came out. I'm really the most excited about the Pandora bracelets. Corey, if you're listening, support Office 365 and go buy your wife a Pandora bracelet.
Wow.
I don't know if he's listening or not, but if he is, he could go buy me a bracelet. I've tried a few times, but I haven't gotten one. But now that we know they're Office 365 customers, I think I can somehow convince him that investing in that company is investing in our future, right?
Well, so here's the deal. So now, and I mean this semi-seriously, as everything I've said. But what we need to do is we need to get a contact over there. We'll sell them the Shepherd's Guide, and they can give it to us in bracelets. I have daughters. I have a wife. They can pay us in bracelets. That's all I'm saying.
Oh goodness, Rob, oh goodness. That's all I can say. That's all I can say.
I was going to sell the Shepherd's Guide to Legos, and I really seriously considered selling it to them for gift cards.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so different case studies. We've also got Georgia State University and Verowen. I think that's how you say it. Pandora and Aon. So those are our big case studies that were put out there this week. So definitely check those out. Dig into what they're doing, especially if any of those align with what you guys are doing. I think it's a great way to show how you can get value based on what others have done. So it's all really, 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 really super stuff. All right. So the next piece of the show. Whoops, having a thought. We talked so much, I dropped my necklace. Just came right off. Anyway, we'll keep rolling,
so you
right?
need a necklace as well as a bracelet.
Yes, I need a necklace now too.
Sorry, Corey.
Too funny. Too funny. All right. So we've got. We wanted to just kind of talk, and Rob, give you some time. To talk about end user adoption and strategies for end user adoption. So we'll put some questions in there, and then per your request, I put in a picture of the lighthouse.
Oh, yeah. So, like we were talking offline, that, I really feel bad when I see a Shui that doesn't have any kind of a vacation in it, because I think that's what it was designed for, and I feel like we have to use it. That, by the way, is Boston Light from a little tiny boat. Out in Boston, when I was at SP TechCon. We rented a boat. My son, who's in the Coast Guard, drove us by the lighthouse, and I took a picture of it. It was super fun. But yeah, so the user adoption thing has been a thing that I've been doing for a while, right? Because the Shepherd's Guide, the original version of the Shepherd's Guide, was done in 2008. Right, so
for people who don't know what a Shepherd's Guide is, you should tell us.
Oh, I should tell you what a Shepherd's Guide is. So, yes. So it's the book that's not a book. It's in the 2013 version. It's 121 tasks that end users want to do. They want to know how to do. They don't want to ask you, and more importantly, you don't want to have to listen to them ask you and then have to answer it. Sure. So we sell that. Again, it's a book that's not a book, so you can buy it as a book if you wanted to. But the real power is getting it as a wiki, screencast. So we screencast every step-by-step instruction. It's like 2 minutes long. And so if they want to know how to create a blog, if they want to know how to attach Word to a blog, if they need to create a view, they need to add a column, if they need to do anything that they're not going to remember how to do because we don't remember what we're trained, that's what the Shepherd's Guide is, right? And so since 2008, we've been doing that, been delivering it as wiki, we've been delivering all sorts of things. So it's a great way to not train users. Now I know that sounds really ridiculous, right? Like, no, we want to train them, but I actually don't want to train them, right? We use this proxy. We use training as a proxy for productivity, right? Businesses don't want trained users. I know people will say that, no, we want trained users. No, you don't. You want productive users. You want people getting stuff done. You want people making money for the business. And training isn't it. Training, so lots and lots and lots of research on education and training, all the way to I've read G is for growing. So I went back and I looked at how Sesame Street was done and how they tested and all of that stuff. And we don't learn the way we want to think we learn. We go through this instructor-led training, and then within 2 weeks we're going to forget 80% of it. And that's ridiculous. So you take people out of role, and they're out doing training, and they're not going to remember it.
Right, right.
So Shepherd's Guide, 2008, I said, hey, I want to do the Shepherd's Guide. I don't want to train people. I want to give them the tools they need, productivity support, to be able to do their job, and quickly and easily, right? Like the other people go, well, no, we had this SharePoint end user training in our learning management system and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, nothing says I love SharePoint like seeing it listed right after sexual harassment training, right? It's in a list. That makes no sense. And I don't want to log into the LMS, because if you're in a large corporation, the learning management system takes you 20 minutes to log in. And then each module's 20 minutes or an hour or whatever it is. And it's just a pain in the rear.
Yeah.
There's a book called Demand, and they talk about this hassle map. What's between the person and what they want to do. And the idea is remove all the hassles from the middle of that. So as I'm talking about user adoption, we talk about what can I get out of the way, because a lot of that is why people aren't adopting.
Right.
To get a site, I have to go do training. I have to go, and it's scheduled once every other month, and the House of the Lamb, full moon, whatever this crazy scheduling thing is, and you never get in. And so you wait 2 weeks, and then you don't. They finally get the training, they take it, but then they're on to the next project, right? Like, I look at SharePoint and Office 365. It's a platform. It is designed to make it easier to get my job done. And when getting my job, and it's harder to get in the platform to get my job done than getting my job done, I won't use the platform.
So talk to me about your ideal, like if you lived in a perfect world and you had unlimited resources and a great company to be working with, what does an ideal implementation of something look like to you that leads to what you would consider successful end user adoption, which sounds like you're really describing as productive users. They're actually using the tools to do their job. So what do you think, if you could map that out for somebody, what would that look like?
Well, so let's start with the end in mind, right? Let's do a little covey and start with the end in mind and say, where do we want to go? And we want productive users. Now, how are we going to know if we got there, right? What's the sign? What's the evidence? What's the residue that we've gotten there? And this is where I think a lot of people get really sideways. Douglas Hubbard wrote a book called How to Measure Anything, right? And he taught you a lot of little tricks on how to measure stuff. By the way, when I'm talking about books, there's likely a book review on my blog for it. There's 149 or 150 books up there. So Douglas Hubbard said, so you can measure things precisely, or you can make good estimates and use that as projective or indicative stuff. So I will pick 3 or 4 or 5 things that I want to shift in the organization. And I like shifting response time to RFP to be 1 day prior to when it's due. And the reason I like that one is all RFPs are always turned in the day they're due, because you're never really done with them. You always want to do a little more. If I can shift it off the last day and move it back just 1 day, that means they're done. They really are done. We sent them to the client because we were done, not because the time expired.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll pick some other metrics. And it could be employee engagement. So employee turnover is very, very incredibly expensive. SHRM, the Society of Human Resource Managers, estimates that at between 20 and 300% of first-year salary. There's also time to productivity. There's lots of other issues with that. And interestingly enough, employee satisfaction, if I can shift that, has a direct correlation to retention, i.e. we won't have to replace people. So I will a lot of times go after What's the communication goal I want? Do I need 80% of people to say that they knew what the corporate objectives were?
Right.
And so that I'll pick those goals. Now that I've got those goals, now I know what I'm shooting for, and I can work backwards and figure out, well, how am I going to get to them? So obviously I have to have a working platform. I ask for sandbox space. Make that very liberal. Anybody can get sandbox space. We blow it away after 30 days or 90 days, or depending upon the client. I really, I build the Shepherd's Guide not just because I like it, but because I like it. We get people in. We do these cards. Let's see if I can do this. And we help people figure out the user interface, and then we route them to help, right? We help them understand how to get to the rest of the help. This is just what we deploy to their desk.
Right.
And so then, so we start there, right? So I make resources available. I make it easy for them to get in. The cards on their desks, the Shepherd's Guide. We'll put in promoted results blocks. So anytime they use the word help, we'll promote from a result source, which is our help, including the Shepherd's Guide. So we'll really start to wrap them up. If you get lost, I'm going to let you just type help, and you'll get help. So that's kind of my baseline. And then we will do training, right? It's not like I don't say that we don't do training. In fact, we got a set of instructor-led materials for 2013 if people want them. But we tend to do training very short.
Right.
It tends to be more, this is how to use SharePoint, this is why you want to use it, and less how do you do it.
Right, right.
The how-to stuff's in the Shepherd's Guide. Just go there. Or add your own if you've got some your own special processes. So if you think about it, so now they're supported, they know how to get in, they know how to get help, we've taught them why it's valuable.
Yep.
Now I'm going to go do targeted consulting and engagements that are designed to help people who are stuck or need help or are hurting, right?
Got it.
Sarah Hasse talks about things like office hours and internal consulting and all that kind of stuff. That is part of the recommendation, is how do you do that? Do I think that there's still room for, notice I say room for, not requirement for, but is there still room for the idea of more structured, formalized training? If you've got people who are going to be champions, if you've got your business analysts, if you've got your people whose job is going to be to do SharePoint, then yeah, send them to training. And so that kind of that's my swath. And then at the end, right, so I know where my metrics are, so I'll go measure them. And then when I get my metrics, I will know whether I'm succeeding or not. And if I'm not, then I go pour more energy in.
Right.
One of the challenges with my utopian idea is the feud that exists between IT Hatfields and business McCoys.
Oh,
right?
this could be interesting. You should. What? Yes. Let's hear more about this one. The Hatfields and McCoys, according to Rob Bogue.
Well, for this one, we're going to do the Southern voice because that is kind of a West Virginian thing. So what you have is you got the one people that think their job is to run the IT and they get to play with the scary gadgets. And then you got the other people who think, you know what? Our job is to make money in this business, and if we ain't making money, then there ain't no money for nobody. And so there's this gap between the way people think, and how do you get the two groups to come together at the table? I mean, shotgun weddings, they just ain't the thing. But if you can get them to come together to come up with those metrics, then you're a lot better off. I glossed over this, RFP one day before release. Most IT groups that I talk to, that scares the heck out of them. They have no control over it. They're like, well, we want metrics that we can control, and we're going to know we hit our MBOs and get our numbers, and we get our bonuses, and everybody's happy because we buy new Xbox Ones, right? And so they don't like this idea that I'm going to go change. Let's say that I wanted to pick sales win ratio, right? Like, what if I say I'm going to shift sales win ratio by 10%?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that takes partnership, not just, hey, we're taking care of you. not order taking, but partnership with the business to say, okay, here are the things I need to remove barriers for my salespeople so that they can get 10% more sales.
Right.
And that Hatfields and McCoy, Capulet and Montague, they just, it's just a hard thing.
Yeah.
But it's my utopian world, so I can say that all works.
Yes, yes, you definitely can. Well, okay, so other than the Shepherd's Guide, which I know is a wonderful tool that's out there, what are some of the other, and I've got some in mind too, some of the other things, and maybe you can think on it while I share some of mine, some other tools and stuff like that that really help with user adoption. And I think one that I've seen really expand in the last 2 years has been the Success Center. So the Office 365 Success Center, where Microsoft has put out a lot of content. And actually, Kathy and I did a show on that one a couple shows back, so you could find it in the archives. And we kind of talk through that, and you can go there, you can build out plans and different things like that, and it's kind of got a lot of the steps for you. There's also some of the quick cards that Microsoft does. You have quick cards, Brainstorm. I mean, there's a lot of these quick cards that kind of exist all over, but what are some other tools that people can go after as they try to conquer some of these pieces?
Well, I think you're talking about a lot of the free resources, which obviously free is the, it's not please, it's free. That's the magic word. Okay.
Yeah. Not
so,
always. But at the end of the year with the training budget, I mean, come on. At the end of the year, training budget, free is a magic word, I think.
Yeah. No, I think, and I don't want to, so not free. So certainly all the research you're talking about, all the publishing, and there are a lot of the folks that we've already talked about who present and talk about this topic. Certainly SlideShare, go up there and search for SharePoint and user adoption. You're going to find lots of really good folks presenting about it. But I got to tell you, the SharePoint adoption problem isn't a technology problem.
It's true.
It's a psychology problem. It's a sociology problem. And so for me, the folks really get a lot more bang by learning how people work. So I know you and I've talked about the elephant, rider, and path model, and I love to explain to people that the rider, a rational rider, our consciousness doesn't actually make any decisions. The elephant that we're sitting on mostly does, and we mostly go along with it. And I think learning that stuff allows you to structure the way that you communicate with folks.
Yeah.
To help come alongside them to help them use SharePoint rather than saying, thou shalt use SharePoint right now, because that never goes well.
Yeah, never.
So yeah, I mean, I think, and certainly there are tools that do in-context help, Content Panda and...
Oh yeah, Content Panda. They do a lot of in context, context help me now.
Yeah, and walk me. There's a bunch. There's a set of them in that model, and
Combined Knowledge has some as well.
Yeah, Support Plus, and that's all. That stuff's all great, right? And I don't. They're great friends, and they're great.
And SharePoint videos, OSIFs, SharePoint videos. They're out there too.
Yep. Yeah, and it's
Visual SP. Yep.
Yep. So it's all good stuff. I mean, for me, one of the challenges I have, and one of the reasons that we do a search focused is, if somebody wants to turn on versioning, they're not going to be on the right page to turn on versioning until they know how to turn on versioning, because it's so obvious when you get there.
Yeah.
What's in context, and if you say, well, it all shows up on every document page, well then, what are we going to do with the 400 features that SharePoint has for doc libraries and which ones you enable? But so yeah, there's lots of free resources. SlideShare is a good one to go to. If you're looking for in context, there's several tools that'll do that.
Well, I've got one more question for you, Rob, to kind of wrap things up since we're getting pretty close on time.
Yep.
Let's say, just hypothetically, because I know this never, ever happens, let's just say you're working on an implementation. You're maybe halfway through it, and you thought you had thought about end user adoption, but you are getting through it and you're realizing, holy crap, I have a great solution here, but no one's actually using it. Oh crap, sky is falling. This isn't going to be successful. What do we do? So if someone comes to you and says that they have that type of scenario, what kind of guidance would you give them to help them get it right on the right track and to turn something that maybe isn't successful into success? What could they change or what should they focus on? How should they approach it to get things realigned and rolling back where they need to go?
So, um, uh, my so there's a couple of things. Obviously, Shepherd's Guide's inexpensive. The cards are inexpensive. They're cheap ways to do things instead of instructor-led training, because that's
Mm-hmm.
where I think a lot of people start, and then they find, ooh, this is way harder than I expected. But honestly, I think figure out the problem you want to solve. Take some small piece of it, solve that problem. Most of the time when I see that, it's somebody decided they were going to eat an elephant, and they sat down at a buffet, the one of them, to eat the whole elephant in one sitting. And no, that doesn't work so well.
Right.
So again, I will focus them back on go solve a problem or two problems, train those users, get them bought in.
Yep.
A lot of times we'll talk about engagement versus adoption. I actually hate the word adoption because like it's a difficult process, and I've had people go through it. And oh, sorry, that's baby adoption. Engagement, I like it because it talks about what you want out of the users. You want them fully engaged. You want them enveloped.
Mhm.
And I find that if I can get a couple of people really engaged in building solutions, then the rest of the people just use it. Because if your payroll system, if your time card system, if your expense reporting system, somebody decided to build in SharePoint, guess
Right.
what? Everybody's using SharePoint. There's
Yeah.
no question.
Yeah.
So,
That's true. Very, very true. Well, thank you so much for coming today, Rob. I always love getting to chat with you. I could chat with you for hours. We have just two more small sections on the show today. So we want to remind you to join up with the Office 365 Yammer Network. So I put the link in here so that you guys could join it. The product team is in there. Great resources, thousands of people across the community that you can go and learn with people, have questions, get them answered. There's usually whenever there's a new blog post that drops, they do a Yam Jam, which is where, regardless of what you want to call it or not, if you want the captive audience of the people at Microsoft making the decision, show up at a Yam Jam, get engaged. Um,
tied to their chairs?
huh?
Well, you said a captive audience. Are they tied to their chairs? Their keys or their hands are free?
I think they are. I think they are.
Okay.
They're stuck there. They don't get to leave a room, and so it's
Okay.
great. It's a great time to get their feedback. So you can go there and do that. And then finally, I just wanted to thank both IT Unity for helping coordinate the show and for Planet for letting me take time from my workday to come out and present the show. So I just wanted to put those in there. So that is today's show. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop them into the chat window. But otherwise, we'll see you on our next show. So our next show, I'm still working on finalizing the guests. I have one or two in mind. One of them is still on his honeymoon, so he hasn't been able to confirm. But we're going to talk about Excel services in 2016 and how you don't need to worry about it and what all of it means. Because if you haven't heard yet, Excel services is not part of 2016, but everything you need to do is in Excel Online. So the next show we're going to kind of talk about what the heck does that even mean, and why do I need to care, and do I need to be freaked out? So that's what we're going to do on our next show, which is October 28th. So I hope you guys will join us. It has been great fun. Rob, you are a wonderful co-host. I'll get in touch with your assistant and see if I can get you back online sometime. She could let me know if you're busy or not. Oh, too funny, too funny. But thanks, everybody. Have such a great day, okay?
Bye.